Across the vast blue expanse of the world's oceans, tales of daring exploits and lawless adventure have long captured our imagination. Today, we journey back in time to explore the true story of pirates, their origins, their rise to power, and the historical legacy they left upon the seas. Before diving into their history, support the channel by liking the video and subscribing to Mythos and Mankind. Our story begins thousands of years ago, when the world's earliest mariners discovered that the open sea was not only a highway for trade, but also a stage for unexpected encounters. In the ancient Mediterranean, seafaring peoples like the Phoenicians and Greeks encountered bands of seaborne raiders. These early pirates, often driven by necessity and the promise of plunder, preyed upon merchant vessels and coastal settlements alike. They were not myth or legend. They were real men and women seeking freedom from the strict rules of land-based society. In this early age, piracy was simply a part of life at sea. As centuries passed, the nature of piracy evolved. During the Middle Ages, the turbulent era saw the rise of the Vikings, ferocious warriors from Scandinavia who ventured far beyond their cold northern homelands. These seafarers raided coastal towns and trading routes across Europe. Their longships, swift and maneuverable, allowed them to strike suddenly before melting back into the mists of the North Sea. Meanwhile, along the southern shores of Europe and North Africa, Moorish corsairs carved out a reputation for themselves. Operating from the Barbary coast, they attacked ships in the Mediterranean, disrupting trade and instilling fear in the hearts of coastal dwellers. Whether by raiding or by force of numbers, these early pirates demonstrated that the sea could be a realm free from the rigid controls of kings and emperors. Fast forward to the 17th and early 18th centuries, a period now known as the Golden Age of piracy. The end of long, costly wars in Europe left thousands of skilled seamen suddenly unemployed. Many of these men found a new calling on the high seas. They transformed from honest sailors and privateers, authorized by governments to capture enemy ships, into outlaws who roamed the Caribbean, the American eastern seaboard, and even the West African coast. In the Caribbean, a unique blend of economic opportunity and lax local law created a haven for piracy. The vast, ungoverned islands and hidden coves became the perfect base for these seaborne rebels. Outfitted on swift, maneuverable ships, pirates such as Blackbeard, Henry Morgan, and Bartholomew Roberts led daring raids on merchant vessels carrying sugar, tobacco, and gold. They established their own codes and rules, elected their captains by popular vote, and divided their loot in ways that challenged the strict hierarchies of traditional naval life. Henry Morgan, once a privateer, became famous for his ruthless attacks on Spanish settlements and treasure fleets. His exploits, recorded in numerous accounts, reveal a man who was both admired and feared. Blackbeard, with his imposing presence and trademark braided beard, captured the public's imagination like no other pirate before or since. His ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, struck fear into the hearts of those who sailed the blue waters. And then there was Bartholomew Roberts, known as Black Bart, whose record of capturing more than 400 ships made him one of the most successful pirates in history. The Golden Age was not limited to the Caribbean. In the waters off the coast of North Africa, the Barbary corsairs engaged European ships with a mix of brutal force and calculated daring. In the Indian Ocean, pirates and privateers exploited the rich trade routes between Asia, Africa, and Europe. Each region, with its own set of challenges and opportunities, contributed to the varied tapestry of piracy that spanned the globe. Piracy during this era was driven by a blend of economic hardship, the lure of quick riches, and a desire to break free from conventional authority. The abandoned privateers found that a life of piracy, though dangerous, offered the chance to share in the spoils of vast, untamed wealth. They adopted a code of conduct that, while harsh by today's standards, provided a form of self-governance and mutual respect among the crew. On board these ships, decisions were made collectively, and every pirate's voice was heard, a stark contrast to the rigid discipline of national navies. However, as quickly as the golden age of piracy arose, it began to fall. Increasingly powerful navies, eager to protect burgeoning international trade, launched determined campaigns against these outlaws. Treaties were signed, governors were appointed, and fleets were sent to eradicate piracy once and for all. By the 1730s, the era of the notorious pirate had largely come to an end. Many pirates were captured and executed, while others sought new ways to live outside the bounds of conventional society. Yet the legacy of these seafaring rebels endures. Their exploits have inspired countless stories, films, and books. While the historical pirates were often ruthless and driven by self-interest, they also embodied a spirit of adventure and defiance that continues to fascinate us today. The very term pirate has become synonymous with the idea of freedom on the open sea, a life unbound by the strictures of society where the horizon offers endless possibility. In exploring the history of piracy, we uncover a complex world where survival depended on boldness, cunning, and the relentless pursuit of opportunity. From the ancient mariners who first dared to plunder the Mediterranean to the outlaws of the Caribbean, whose legends still echo in our popular culture, pirates have left an indelible mark on maritime history. Their story is one of transformation, a story where hardship and chaos gave birth to a unique way of life that challenged the established order of empires. Today, as modern navies patrol the seas and international law continues to evolve, piracy has taken on new forms. But the classic image of a pirate, a rugged individual sailing under a black flag in search of fortune, remains a powerful symbol of rebellion and adventure. The historical record shows us that, beneath the myth and romance, there were real men and women who risked everything to carve out a life on the edge of society. As we reflect on the rise and fall of piracy, we see not only a history of plunder and peril, but also a reminder of the human desire to seek freedom beyond the limits imposed by conventional order. The legacy of the pirates of old lives on in our culture and continues to inspire those who dare to dream of life on the open seas. Thank you for joining us on this voyage through time, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.